Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today, if you're listening in real time, we are 2 days away from Christmas. So I thought I'd make a little episode of something where you can just reflect on over this period when it all gets too much. Because coming into Christmas as a single parent, it brings up all those emotions again. And it can really trigger you because you're looking at all these happy families, you're looking at everyone doing all these things together, and then you've got all this time when you don't have with your kids. And as a result, all that resentment just gets brought back up again. You're thinking all these things of, if only they made it work, if only they did this, if only this happened, if only. But the thing is, getting caught up in that headspace is not going to make your day any better. So today, I just want to have a quick little chat about how you can reframe that thinking when it comes to Christmas and when you're feeling that resentment. So you're not feeling so resentful. You're not feeling so angry. And it doesn't fix things, but looking at things from a different perspective can make it feel a whole lot better. So let's talk about that today. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in. Now, when it comes to resentment, it's one thing that gets overlooked a lot. All those things, all those little triggers that you have, maybe you feel like the ex is a fun parent and you feel like maybe they're not stepping up as much as they should be, or you feel like they're not financially providing and you just overlook it, or you don't overlook it. You keep trying to say something and do something, but they're not helping you or they're not listening. And so all that resentment towards that builds. And then coming up to Christmas, it all comes back out again, and it's all even more. It's even stronger, that feeling, because maybe now coming into Christmas, they all of a sudden want to show up and be the fun parent. They've all of a sudden got all this money to buy these amazing presents. They've all of a sudden got this new partner and they want to show that they're the best parent. And then all this resentment starts building up. Well, why are they doing this now? Why couldn't they do this? Why couldn't they do that? Why couldn't they pay for that? And when you're stuck in that mind frame of why, and worrying about what they're doing, I can tell you now, it's not going to have any positive impact on you. I understand you want these answers. I understand you're wanting to know why. However, it is very important to keep in mind when going into Christmas and you have these thoughts that you're never going to get these answers. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but as I always try and remind you, it is not your ex's job to make you feel better. If they've done something wrong, if they're not showing up, if they're not stepping up, if they're not being there as the parent that you would like them to be, then that's a them problem. And when you get caught up in that mind frame, when you get caught up of that blame, well, they did this, they did that, they hurt me, they broke our family, they've messed this up. It's their fault that I can't see the kids on Christmas. It's their fault that the kids don't wake up with me. It's their fault that this happened. And I totally respect when you're coming from when you feel like this, because you're still hurt, you're still upset, you've still got that resentment there. And when you're going into these days like Christmas and all these other special occasions like birthdays, whether it's yours or your kids, Mother's Day, Father's Day, or any other special occasion, it'll bring up these emotions again. And the longer you hold on to that hurt, the more that resentment is going to stay there. Well, the longer that resentment is going to stay there. And it's quite common for people to say, but I'm fine, I've let go of it, I've got no issues. But saying you're fine and letting go of that resentment and that anger and that hurt are two very different things. You can be fine, but as soon as something happens where you get triggered, for example, Christmas comes around and you don't have the kids, and then you all of a sudden start getting angry and frustrated and annoyed at the ex, then that resentment and all those emotions are going to come back up again. So what I want you to focus on this Christmas is really try and keep the focus on you, because it does. When you haven't fully emotionally detached yourself, when you haven't fully let go of the breakup, even though you may think you have, but when you're getting triggered or when these things are happening, when you're getting angry or annoyed at your ex or pissed off that they're showing up just to look like the fun parent, or they're showing up to look like they can give all these great presents, or they're showing up to impress their new partner, these things are things that will piss you off. Even more so at Christmas time, because you're thinking to yourself, well, this is my time with the kids. Who are they to spend this time with my kids? I'm the one that does everything for them. Who are they thinking they can buy these amazing presents and act like the best parent ever? It really pisses you off. It really does. So if you're in that situation at Christmas, when any of these types of scenarios happen to you, I want you to try and keep the focus on you. Because staying in that mentality of blaming them and focusing on what they have done wrong is going to get you caught up in that headspace over Christmas of just thinking and focusing on the faults, focusing on what's not working. So I really want you to try this Christmas, if you're going through a situation with your ex where you're pissed off, you're not happy, things are happening that are triggering you or that are really upsetting you, I want you to try and keep the focus of them and keep it on you. Now, that's not going to fix everything, but I can guarantee you now, when you don't engage, when you don't react, when you don't bother about what they're doing and you just think, that's them, I'm not fazed at all, then your day will be so much better. But if you react to what they're going through, if you react to a smart-ass message that they say, or if you react because you see them with this new partner or a type of gift they're giving the kids or what they're doing, or they're with their family that you're usually spending Christmas with, all these things can trigger you. And when you allow that to get to you, it's going to impact your whole day. And as a result, your whole day is ruined because of your ex. Don't give that power to them. Don't give your ex control over your emotions at Christmas. So when you're in this situation, try and not focus on what they've done wrong. And it's easy to say, as I always say this, you can't control them, you can't control what they do, you can't control what they say. And quite often, if you're with an ex or you're co-parenting with someone who is quite narcissistic or who is quite controlling, they will do smart-ass things to try and rub it in your face. They will do shitty little things to try and get a reaction from you. But I do not want you to react this Christmas. I want you to keep your focus on you. Don't give them any reason to turn around and say, see, look, they're the crazy ones. It's not me, it's them, they're crazy. Don't give them any motivation to make them paint you as the crazy ex. And it does really take a hit on your ego when you see this new person around with your kids, or you see your kids having fun with this other family that you're not there with, or you see all these other things happening. It does hurt. However, I want you to remember this Christmas, when you're put into a situation where you feel triggered by your ex, I want you to try and stop yourself in the moment and ask yourself, if I respond to this, is this going to make me feel any better? If I respond to this, is this going to put me in a shitty mood for the rest of the day? Is this worth me just ignoring it and letting it slide and knowing this is them just being an idiot? Because quite often that's what it is. Quite often you have certain types of people out there that like to do things just to intentionally piss you off. And that's a very sad type of person. But there are a lot of people out there that like to do that. They get their kicks out of seeing people, especially when it comes to their ex, sad and miserable. They like to prove that they're in a better position. They like to prove that they're doing better. So quite often when people are in that situation that want to prove that, they do that at the expense of you, their ex. So they make you look like the shit person so they feel better about themselves. Don't take the bait. Because that's what they're wanting. Because when you do, that's when you get more worked up. That's when you get more stressed and you start to feel more anxious. And then do you know who's caught in the middle of that? Your kids. And they see that. They feel that. They see when mum and dad's stressed or angry or frustrated or anxious. They sense that. They see that. And then they're caught in the middle of that at handover. And that's not fair on them to put them in the middle of that at Christmas. So when you are in this situation, acknowledge it. You're allowed to be shitty. You're allowed to be pissed off. You're allowed to have a cry. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be angry. Because by no means am I dismissing anyone's feelings here. Have your emotions. Feel it. Be hurt. However, just be cautious of the way you let those emotions out. Because when you do get caught up in that and you do respond, and it does escalate those emotions, that's when that grudge slowly starts to come out on other people, your family members, your friends, your kids. And that's not what you want. You're taking your anger and resentment out on the wrong people because you're pissed off at your ex and they're not in front of you at the moment. They've gone and having their fun Christmas day and you're angry and pissed off at them and you're holding on to all these emotions. And someone in the family might ask you a question and boom, you're triggered and you snap at them. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that's what will happen. But it does when you're holding on to these emotions. It does when you're holding on to all this anger and hurt. When the one person says that one wrong thing to you, and for someone else it might be nothing, but for you it's a big deal because you're all caught up in these emotions and boom, you're triggered and your whole day has just gone to the shit. So when you are in this situation, I really want you to stop and focus on what you can control. What's in front of you? Proving a point to your ex at Christmas is not going to achieve anything productive. Having the last say with your ex at Christmas is not going to achieve anything productive. Constantly getting in that back and forth with your ex at Christmas is not going to achieve anything productive. The only thing you can control is how you respond, how you react. And the way you respond and the way you react will determine how you feel for the rest of the day. And just remember, it's not about giving in to them. It's not about letting them win. And most importantly, it's not about just being the bigger person. I see that a lot where people say, why do I have to be the bigger person? It's not about being the bigger person just for your ex or giving in just for them. It's about doing what's right for you so you feel better in yourself. It's not about being the better person or the bigger person so at some point somebody has to give in. It's not about that. It's not about giving in. It's about doing something for you because you know you deserve better than that. You know you deserve to have a good Christmas. You know that you deserve not to get caught up in this toxicity on Christmas. You know that you don't have to prove a point to your ex at Christmas. You know that what they do is not going to be changed by what you say. You can be totally pissed off about what they do. You can say something about what they're doing. You can disagree with what they're doing. But at the end of the day, they're not just going to change it because their ex says that they should. So please remember this Christmas, when all these emotions have come to the surface again and you're getting a little bit worked up, keep your focus on you and your life and what you can control. Because the more you're focusing on your ex and what they're doing, the more worked up you're going to get. The more annoyed and pissed off you get at your ex for what they're doing, the more of a crappy day you're going to have. If you know they've been that kind of person the whole way through your relationship and the whole time you've known them, then this is exactly who they're going to be when you co-parent. They're not all of a sudden going to magically be this amazing parent because you're not together. They're still the same person. They're still behaving the same way. They're not doing anything different. And just because it's Christmas doesn't mean that they're just all of a sudden going to step up and be this perfect co-parent. So please, this Christmas, I want you to really pay attention to the good things in your world. It's easy to get caught up in the negatives. It's easy to get caught up in what's not working. It's easy to get caught up in the things that you don't like. But when you're constantly focusing on that, you're going to get caught up in this downward spiral of all these, this is shit, it's not working, don't like that, don't like this is horrible, I'm so miserable, I hate my life. You don't want to get caught up in that spiral. Try and keep your focus on the good things, the things that you're happy about. And you might be thinking, well, shit, Leanne, there's nothing that I'm happy about. There has to be things that you're happy about. I can tell you one right now, and that's the fact that you're not with your ex. That's one thing to be happy about. Because I can guarantee you every single one of my clients that I've spoken to are at a place where they know that they're much happier not being with their ex. And maybe at the start when they're first broken up, they had that little ray of hope that they were going to get back together because there was still that hurt there. But in time you realize this is not what I want. This wasn't lighting me up. That wasn't the relationship for me. And if it was, I'd still be with them. So that's one thing to be happy about, that you're not stuck in that relationship this Christmas. You're now at a situation where you can build your life for you. You can do a life that makes you happy without being held back by somebody else. So this was just a short little Christmas pep talk to remind you when you get caught up in that drama with your ex, that toxicity, you get caught up in a downward spiral of all these negative thoughts. I want you to remind yourself, do you really want to spend your whole Christmas day or your whole Christmas period thinking about your ex? Do you want to give them that power? Do you really want to spend your whole Christmas day and that whole festive season focusing on what's not working? Or maybe we can reframe that and find what is working. What is going right for you? Because just remember, focusing on your ex and what you cannot control is not going to put you in a better headspace. Keep your attention on what you can change. Keep your attention on what you have power over, which is yourself and your life and how you react and what you do in that situation. So if your ex tries to trigger you this Christmas, instead of just quickly responding with a text to prove them wrong, I want you to stop yourself in the moment and go, nope, I don't need to engage in this. Nope, I'm not stooping to their level. Nope, this has nothing to do with the kids. I am not engaging. Keep your focus on you. And they might not be texting you that triggers you. It might just be something that you see. It might be something you hear from the kids that they've done at the other parent's house. And if that's the case, I want you to stop and just think to yourself, why does that bother you so much? Ask yourself that question when something happens, when your ex triggers you. I want you to ask yourself, why does that bother you so much? And that's not me being condescending or rude in any way. I want you to honestly ask that question because you can have a great Christmas being a single parent. You can enjoy your Christmas even though you got a toxic co-parent. Because even though they might be trying to make your life difficult, it's only as difficult as you let them make it. So when you don't respond, when you don't react, when you don't reply, then they've got nothing to keep going at. Keep your focus on you and creating your nice Christmas, your fun Christmas. Because when you get in that cycle of constantly sending them messages and they're messaging you back, it just keeps going. And if you're in one of those co-parenting relationships where you both just want to be right, it's going to keep going, sometimes for hours on end, because you just want to have that last say. You just want to have that last word. You want to one-up them, but then they want to do the same to you. Not responding is not letting them win. It's doing what's best for you. So please don't forget that. So just a few little tips for you to keep your attention on this Christmas. Don't worry about blaming them. Don't worry about what's happened in the past because you can't change that. Don't worry about what they're doing because you can't change that. Don't worry about what kind of person they are or what they say to you because you can't change that. Focus on you and how you choose to react in these situations where you get triggered. That's what's important. And when you take the bait, you react, you respond, that's when you get caught up in this cycle and boom, your day's gone to the shit. Try to step back. And when you are very tempted to still respond, I want you to pause. Take a moment just to really think, do I need to respond to this? Try not to react. Try to respond. Very different. Reacting is responding straight away because you're pissed off. Responding is when you stop and think about what you're doing. So try respond, not react. So that's just a few tips. Just a short little sweet one. Just to kind of help you through Christmas when you're co-parenting with someone who just likes to make your life difficult. And most importantly, when you're still at that stage where your ex triggers you. Because when they trigger you and you're still caught up in those emotions, everything they do is going to piss you off. So take this advice on board, go back and listen to it if you have to, but just keep your focus on you. Keep your focus on your kids. Have fun. Have a great day. I love Christmas. And don't stoop to your ex's level. And remember, if you do ever need some support, some extra, more personalized one-on-one support, then I'm here for that. Reach out at any time. You can jump online, you can book there. All my details are in the show notes. If you want to ask a question, you've got something to say, jump on over to my Facebook page or Instagram page. I do answer every message. So please feel free to reach out. Have a great Christmas, guys. And I hope this episode helped you just that little bit through this period. Just gave you that little bit of advice that you needed to go, shit, yeah, okay, she's right. I don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about them at all. So I hope that's helped you a little bit through this Christmas period. Have an amazing day, guys. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.